Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Thursday, November 5th, 2020, and here I am bringing you yet again another 2020 election update. The race has gotten even closer. When we're taking a look at across the country, Joe Biden has remained roughly the same in Nevada and North Carolina. This is because both of these states will not be releasing results. Nevada's releasing results tomorrow, North Carolina next Friday. But when we're taking a look at the states of Pennsylvania and Georgia, they have significantly narrowed up. I discussed Georgia this morning. We talked about how Joe Biden was inching up on President Trump despite being down nearly double digits on election night. Georgia is tied. Georgia, out of nearly 5 million votes cast, is being decided right now by 3,000. And the reality of the situation for Donald Trump is that it doesn't look like a lot of these outstanding votes are going to be too beneficial to his camp. We have outstanding votes in Democratic areas, Atlanta suburbs, Atlanta metro area. This is what will decide the state of Georgia. And unless Donald Trump will somehow win these voters and turn around the Joe Biden 70-30 split we've been seeing out of these absentee ballot voters, Georgia may actually go to the Democrats for the first time since 1992. But the margin is super, super close. The Georgia Secretary of State tells us there are 18,000 votes remaining. 18,000 votes remaining. Donald Trump has a 3,000 vote lead. If the math works out the way it's going right now, Joe Biden should win the state of Georgia. Again, this is all speculative. This is not absolute. That's why it's not called yet. But if it holds, Joe Biden should win the state of Georgia by less than 1,000 votes. Less than 1,000 votes, which leaves a lot of room for a recount. A lot of room. But recounts don't traditionally change much. In 2016, the most we saw was Wisconsin, which changed roughly 133 votes. While we don't think that will be a lot, if the margin is down 500, 400 for Biden in a state that's, 1.5 times larger than Wisconsin, it could have an impact. But I just wanted to point out, Georgia is now tied. This is no longer a stronghold for Republicans. The rest of the country may have voted to the right of what we expected, but Georgia is surprising us all. It could still very well go to President Trump. He's leading right now. He is leading. But I do want to say, Joe Biden is also in a very, very good position as it stands. In neighboring North Carolina, the numbers have not been tabulated, but in Pennsylvania, it gets better for Biden. Don't you remember me talking about it earlier today? Biden was down 16 points on election night, 10 yesterday morning, 5 last night, 1 point today. 1 percentage point separates the two. And this is where, this is why President Trump is calling voter fraud, because he's losing. That's the reality of it. Philadelphia County is out. Delaware County is out. Chester County is out. Montgomery County out. They're not at 100% reporting, and Biden is inching up a president. Biden has made up 15 points. If all numbers hold today, Biden is on track to win both Georgia and Pennsylvania and Nevada. Now, again, do not let me dictate the election results for you. Draw your own conclusions. But I do want to point out that given all of the states that have not been called, yes, Alaska has not been called yet. They only have 50% of precincts reporting, unfortunately. I'd love it if they reported more. There's a Senate race in contention there. But when we're looking at the map right now, based off the Associated Press, which is traditionally very conservative in their calls, I know a number of you guys do not agree with the Arizona distinction. CNN has not called Arizona. MSNBC has not called Arizona. But Fox News has the advanced placement. The Associated Press has called the state of Arizona. This state's 11 electoral votes has been decided. And I know you guys may not agree with it. You think that Trump is going to pull it out in Maricopa, but until I see the rescindence of the call, I will say Arizona definitively is going blue. Fox News hasn't exactly been wrong, really, in modern history, besides a 2000 scenario. The Associated Press has not. When we're looking at these, Politico, when we're looking at who's making these calls, they are very respected firms, very respected news sources. And I know some of you may argue with that Fox News, but if Fox News, which is traditionally labeled as conservative, is calling Arizona, you could bet Arizona's going blue. So those 11 electoral votes in Arizona, I think, are gone for Trump. Again, I also predicted Florida going blue, so trust me how you will. I also, got a pretty significant portion of the map right. If all holds based off who's expected to lead, I would only be off by 2 states. But that's not the point of this video. Look at that call in Arizona. What does that do to Biden? He's at 264. And as I just showed you, Biden is on track to pick up Pennsylvania, pick up Georgia, and retain the state of Nevada. Florida is a whole other ballgame. You know why? Because there are 300,000 votes out, and less than 100,000, less than a third of that separates both Biden and Trump in North Carolina, which is exactly why it's in play. And guess what else is good news for you Democrats out there? Over in the Senate election, a lot of you guys were waiting for that Georgia call to be made. The Georgia regular Senate election is going to a runoff. The Georgia Senate regular election, according to the Decision Desk HQ at MSNBC, which has been way more conservative, ironically, than Fox News in their projections, Georgia, both special and regular, are going to a runoff. What does this mean for Democrats? It means even if Republicans win North Carolina and Alaska, as they are expected to, the majority is not theirs until January 5th. And even then, it could go to the Democrats. The Republican Party nominated Kelly Loeffler, someone who's been tagged with insider trading in response to COVID-19. She's then also being labeled as extremely far right, more so than David Perdue. David Perdue has been narrowly pushed under that 50% mark. So Biden is inching closer. Democrats might be happy with where the Senate actually stands. It's still possible for a majority for them. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. And that's what's giving a lot of Democrats hope this evening. Because 2 nights ago, it looked way, way worse. Look at this map. If Biden has so much wins, any of the 4 states in the continental United States, Biden wins the election. Look what happens. If Nevada goes blue, which went to Hillary Clinton in 2016, Biden gets 270. What's the magic number we've been talking about? It's right there. Let's say, Trump wins the state of Nevada. But Biden's currently on track to narrowly, and I mean narrowly, win Georgia. But if he does it, well, that actually puts Trump at an even worse position. And even if Trump holds the state of North Carolina and history tells us Alaska is going red, what about Pennsylvania? Even if Trump wins it, he doesn't win the election. But Joe Biden is on track to carry the state of Pennsylvania. And again, draw your own conclusions. But I'd say I'm pretty confident in what I'm seeing. If I was on the Biden campaign and I was saying, these are the outstanding votes. And when I say we, I'm going to be referring to it as if I am a Biden senior advisor, right? Okay. So looking at this, I'd say, we're up in Nevada. The early votes are not favoring the opposition party at all, even though they technically should be. Trump needs them to be to win the state, but they're not. So Nevada could very well go to Biden. But what's the plan B? Well, it's Pennsylvania. The Biden campaign is expecting to win Pennsylvania by nearly 200,000 votes. That's more than Trump in 2016. Trump won Pennsylvania by 44,000 in 2016. Biden is on track to do better than Trump did 4 years ago, and obviously, in return, flip the state. So plan B is there. Well, what if both fail? What's a plan C for our campaign? Well, they'd be thinking, Georgia. This state's 16 electoral votes could very well put, Joe Biden well over 270. And the most extreme scenario, which is a plan D, would require a flip in the state of Arizona from what's already been projected. Let's say the AP and Fox News, Politico, they get it fundamentally wrong. They mess up too early, right? Well, that brings us back to a way more competitive stance for President Trump. However, you do have to point out Nevada's still on track to go blue, Pennsylvania's still on track to go blue, and with that, it's a done deal. So even with these, lack of calls in Nevada, the lack of a call in Pennsylvania, the lack of a call in North Carolina, Georgia, and Alaska, Biden is still at a very, very good position entering into this, and Democrats should be very happy with this new Georgia revelation. Georgia, both Senate races are going to a runoff. It's fascinating. In Pennsylvania, I have actually CNN's election coverage right in front of me while I'm recording this video. It's down to 49.8% for Trump, 48.9% for Biden. We are officially under 1%. Officially under 1%, which, like I said, even worse for, let's see, they're a little bit less percentage-wise. That's weird. The percentages don't add up on Fox and MSNBC, but regardless, Georgia is tied. Pennsylvania is within a percentage or less. I don't really see too many pathways for Trump. The people with the money know where this race is going. It's so hilarious to me that they're more set down on Georgia than they are on Arizona. But Arizona has actually been called by the Associated Press. So, Trump supporters, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Republicans across this country are likely to lose this election on the White House level. But they do have a little bit of a silver lining, gaining seats in the House of Representatives, possibly holding the United States Senate. But as I'm looking at these numbers and as I'm looking at where the outstanding vote relies, where, Biden and Trump are expecting to get their final vote share, I'd bet on a map where Georgia is the only blue part of the South. I'd bet on that. I can't bet. I'm not of age, so don't ask me to. But 264 for Biden. Take one state in the continental United States. We know Alaska's not going blue. So take one state, really, that's actually a toss-up right now, and give it to Biden. He's at 270. That's it. It's done. And we were talking about this, before the election. Does Donald Trump have a pathway to the presidency? And 2 nights ago, I would have said absolutely, if not the favorite to win the presidency. But the red mirage was there, and the red mirage has fallen. Joe Biden is on track to win Nevada, win Pennsylvania, and possibly win Georgia if the numbers hold. And I think that would be the most 2020 way to end this election, with Georgia going blue and voting to the left of Florida and to North Carolina, despite expert opinion, except for Sabato Crystal Ball. They're probably going to be very happy following this election. So, like I said, interesting election results. Good news for Democrats all around, though. Yes, they have lost seats in the House of Representatives, but I do want to point out that because this year, looking at the election results 2 nights ago, this is very good news for them compared to what they thought it would end up like. They thought it was going to be 2016. They thought the Republicans were going to outright win the Senate majority. We now know that is no longer possible. We now know we will be seeing 2 Senate races in Georgia decide the balance of power in the Senate. Deciding the balance of power in the Senate. So that'll be very interesting. 48-48 right now in the United States Senate. Extremely close. Anyone's ball game. Looking at Georgia, if it ends up going blue, and even if it doesn't, you can expect tens of millions of dollars that were left over from the presidential campaign and money raised between now and January 5th to be poured into Georgia. This election is far from over. We're going to be watching who wins the Senate till January 5th, 2020. We are going to be watching super, super closely, but the presidential race is close to being over. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch and then a playlist for my 2024 election prediction. I'm not trying to make you dwell on the past. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.